Good morning, good morning. So this is my, obviously I didn't understand what Greg said, but in case he didn't say this, this is my first trip to Poland, so thank you very much. I got here yesterday, and so far they've shown me a great time, so thank you very much to Vidal for that. So as he mentioned, I'm Sean Doherty from EnterpriseDB, and you see the title of my talk for you today is, it's about dollars and cents, but if you notice, cents isn't spelled in the monetary term of cents. What we're talking about is common sense. So you want to use your dollars the right way, and you want to use your resources the right way. And so it's not unlike what you heard a minute ago from Werner at Red Hat. We're also, looking with our customers to try and solve this issue between the work you have to get done and the money and resources your company gives you to get that work done. And as the years go on and you've got more and more applications to deploy, I think a slide you saw earlier from Werner said, 50% more applications. You're doing more work, but your resource levels stay the same. And in fact, where are you spending your money? If you can't see that in the back, 70% approximately of your IT budget is going to infrastructure software spend. So your operating system, your middleware, your database spend. And it is true that we need to look at a way to do things differently in a larger paradigm shift as opposed to, modifying the knobs slightly, right? You want to be able to spend your resources and your money on the things that can help your business grow, on the applications that can help you dig into the data and really find kind of maybe the needle in the haystack that can help your business succeed. And so that's what we're trying to do from a database perspective. So EnterpriseDB has been around since 2005. We've really started to pick up our engagement outside of the United States. Vidal came on as our partner for Central and Eastern Europe last year. We're very happy about that. And so we now have over 800 customers around the world, over 3 million downloads of PostgreSQL a year from EnterpriseDB's site. So about 1.5 million different users every year are downloading PostgreSQL. So it's really picking up. And I also wanted to at least let you see a little bit of information about our investors. So on the right-hand side, you see kind of our venture investors, but the left-hand side, which I think is more important, are the list of our strategic partners, our strategic investors. So those include Red Hat, IBM, KT is Korea Telecom, and NTT. And what this tells you is there are large technology companies that are also placing their bet behind EnterpriseDB and PostgreSQL. So we've got kind of the same challenges on the database side as you see with operating system and middleware. So on one end of the spectrum, you've got enterprises that are spending a lot of money on proprietary database. Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, et cetera. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the project users, PostgreSQL users, which we're obviously very much in favor of. We do a lot of work with the community. And so our job as EnterpriseDB and our partners that are here today are to help customers and users on every end of that spectrum, from your proprietary database users all the way to the project users. So the first group that I show here are PostgreSQL users. So those are folks that obviously they're interested in open source, using open source, probably Linux, probably JBoss, also using PostgreSQL. They've got budget constraints. They're probably doing their own support with consultants or their internal DBAs. But as I mentioned earlier, if this isn't your business, it's better to redeploy those resources to work on things that can help your business as opposed to spending your resources and your money on trying to administer your own databases and bug fixes, patches, et cetera, right? So the next group, which we call OMS users, which might be a new acronym for you, Oracle MySQL. If anyone hasn't heard, MySQL is owned by Oracle, so it's not quite the same as maybe it was a year ago. So for us, that's an important thing to remember. And so those groups of users obviously are also open source advocates. They also have budget issues, but maybe they have some issues around performance. Obviously, if you're using your database for read and write transactions, and you're doing a lot of writing back and forth inserts and updates, if you have a lot of users, sometimes with MySQL you can run into performance issues. Or maybe you're just having some anxiety over what's going to be the future of MySQL now that it's in the hands of Oracle. And then obviously our third group of users are, I say Oracle users, but really what we're talking about are proprietary database users, right? So maybe not comfortable with open source software for database yet, but on the other hand are having concerns about how much money they're spending in database. So I mentioned earlier 70% of IT spend is going to your infrastructure software, and about half of that for the average company is going to database spend. So it's a lot of money. And a lot of companies are looking for ways to move, but they just don't know what that strategy is. They don't know what the path is to move. This is a heat map of PostgreSQL users throughout the world. And so there's 3 different colors you see up there. You've got the blue. Let me switch hands. Blue are folks that have downloaded PostgreSQL from EnterpriseDB, and they're either using Postgres Plus, our certified product, or PostgreSQL from the open source community. The orange colors are public references for PostgreSQL and Postgres Plus. So companies or governments that are using PostgreSQL that have publicly declared their use, and we can get you information about who those are. And then the green that you see up there are actual customer references of EnterpriseDBs. So what you see here, and if I zoom into Europe, there's a ton of PostgreSQL use. So why is that important? As you think about moving away from a proprietary database, just know that you're not the first person to do it. There are in fact, how many folks here are using PostgreSQL someplace in their organization now? Show of hands. So maybe a quarter or a third of you are already using PostgreSQL. It's not new. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple customers. So we're gonna deal with 3 different users of Postgres today. The first one is Advantech. And so these guys, they're an HR provider. So they provide HR services. And they were using PeopleSoft, but the problem they were having is they couldn't scale with their customer base with kind of a regular, the regular way of doing things. They needed to move into a cloud solution. And so they chose SyncSource as a cloud-based HR application for their customers. And SyncSource was great for them because it was certified with PostgreSQL. The challenge they had with PostgreSQL, however, was they wanted to be able to virtualize those instances, and to do that, you'd have to do some tweaking with the project, right? So Werner talked a little bit about the value that Red Hat adds. Certain features you're going to get in an open source project, but the companies that you use that can help you are adding value on top of that, on top of those features. So for instance, Postgres Plus Advanced Server certified with, in this instance, it's a VMware virtualization solution. And so they were able to use Postgres Plus, increase their performance time with their SyncSource application, and then save money by not using a proprietary database. So to just take a couple minutes to just talk to you about what the differences are between PostgreSQL and Postgres Plus Standard Server and Advanced Server. PostgreSQL is the open source community project. And then EnterpriseDB has 2 certified supported distributions. I'm going to move this because I keep walking in front of it. Postgres Plus Standard Server and Advanced Server. So to give you kind of an idea of what we're talking about, the core of the database is PostgreSQL. It's been around for 20 years, ACID compliant, great read-write transactional database. And then Standard Server is a superset of PostgreSQL with some additional open source functionality that if you were putting down your own database, you would get a JDBC connector, or ODBC connector, or replication, et cetera. And then Advanced Server has some additional functionality on top of Standard Server, most specifically around some performance enhancements and Oracle compatibility. And then the final ring, which I think is the most important for everyone here, is we also provide, through our partners, particularly here in Poland, training services and consulting services, 24/7 support in local language, all of those types of things that if you're going to, move to an open source software solution, you're going to want to make sure that you have peace of mind that, that there are experts that can help you with your deployment. And so this gives you a little bit more of an example of some of the features that, that Advanced Server helps in terms of being able to scale your database and perform even faster than PostgreSQL. So PostgreSQL, great database. We add some additional functionality to get a little bit more performance. Advanced Server 9.0 is coming out this summer. And so PostgreSQL 9 came out last summer, and there's a couple important features that came out in PostgreSQL 9, streaming replication and hot standby, two important features. Those will be included now in Advanced Server 9.0, along with our 7th generation of Oracle compatibility, and then additional performance-enhancing features for, that allow you to work faster and more securely. And what it, in the end, gives you is an infrastructure stack that allows you to be free from the lock-in from proprietary vendors. So you're able to leverage the work of the open source community, as Werner mentioned, with Fedora, a $10 billion R&D endeavor for Fedora. The savings of that R&D endeavor is passed on to the customer, but even more than that, you're also taking advantage of faster innovation and more innovation with open source because you've got a community around the world that's working on that software together as opposed to just one company. So I want to talk a little bit about AQA. So that's the UK's largest examination board. And so what they wanted to do is they wanted to, in a secure way, move their examination process to the web. And the problem that they had was to be able to scale that, they couldn't do it in a cost-effective manner with their proprietary database. And so when they thought about moving databases, what they did was they said, you know what, let's change the entire infrastructure to open source. And in fact, move to JBoss's Enterprise Application Platform, JBoss Portal, Alfresco, and Advanced Server. So they were able to move their application to the web in a safe and secure way and rid themselves of their proprietary vendors so that they also were able to do this in a much more cost-effective manner using open source.